Alright, so today we're talking about Asmongold. This is going to be one of the first videos I upload onto my channel. Clearing the Waters, and Clearing the Waters is basically the name I decided to go with to kind of give you the point of the channel, which is to make sure that the waters aren't as murky as everyone seems to make them. As murky as they seem to get, no matter what side you're on. I'm not going to be perfect, of course. Look everything up, I say, yourself, and learn a little bit about what's going on in the world. So this Asmongold video we're talking about is called "What the Fuck is Happening?" And I know that he mainly talks about trans issues in this, but we're reacting to it knowing that. Because that's why I picked this video in the first place, so we can start with something a little difficult, trans issues. And we're going to break down Asmongold's point of view and why it's problematic and discriminatory. Alright, let's get it started.
I need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yeah.
Jesus. Can you just wrap it up, yeah?
I can. You say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people. You better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking!
I'm not really sure if that's a good argument, that if you don't give us what we want, we're going to incite terrorism. I feel like that's a really bad argument, and I don't think that a lot of people support that. And whenever I say a lot of people, I feel...
Asmongold's right here. She shouldn't have said that. You want to stay as peaceful as possible until you don't have a choice anymore. You know, you want resort to violence is like the last resort. So I agree with Asmongold that she's definitely not considering everything about what she's saying right there, but it's more out of desperation than anything.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum. And I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want...
What?
And he literally doesn't understand. He literally doesn't understand that she's afraid of being discriminated against. There's absolutely no clue.
What? What is this? What game is this? It's Concord.
to be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me.
And these people are like pouring their heart out, trying to get other people to understand their situation. And Asmongold here is just like making. He's like, I'm like this guy. This is me in the audience, right? It's pretty much what he's saying without saying it, right? And it's just, it's really saddening that he can't really understand the trans people's situation, their plight, the reason we have to try and validate them. And as we go into the video, I'll go more into this.
Man. That's me? Yeah. I think that's a lot of people. You've got a lot of snowflakes melting here. It's pretty... Like, I don't see how anybody can listen to these people talk.
Snowflakes are for being completely discriminated against, for being pretty much made illegal to be a trans person. That's what they're complaining about. The fact that Trump is trying to make trans people non-existent. And here he is belittling that plight and just laughing at it and calling them snowflakes. It's disgusting.
And not come to the conclusion that these people have a profound mental illness and there's something seriously wrong with them.
Some of them do have severe mental illness, and the reason they have severe mental illness a lot of the time is because the world won't accept them for who they are. And they know that the world has trouble accepting them for who they are, and they struggle with that. So yeah, they often do have mental illnesses, but it's a result of the world's pressure put on them because of the expectations that we have of these people to be something they're not.
Just like the way they talk, the way they act, their body language, everything about it, it's just completely fucking unhinged.
See, he's like talking about every single aspect of them like they're unhinged, even though they're not completely unhinged. They're regular people who have been put through a lot. And that's why a lot of them commit suicide. Because they are put through the ringer by people like Asmongold, who think that they're the ones who are in the right, and who feel like they're the ones justified just because their opinion is popular.
I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that the Nazis burned books on gender sciences.
They did do that.
Okay, I've seen this clip before, just to let you guys know, out this video, I have seen this clip.
First. Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans...
It's a bit of a miss. Like, my understanding is that they burned them not because it was gender stuff, but because it was written in Jewish and not German. And
I mean, he's just misinterpreting what un-German means, which is a term that was often used to describe what the Germans were doing in the book burnings and the culture purification. So no, they weren't written in Jewish or Hebrew. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense what he's talking about right now.
of Germany for Germans, that was like the uprising of the Nazis. So it was like, yeah, they were. I think it probably might be both in some circumstances, but like it was categorical for it not being written in German.
I mean, he's just straight up wrong. He's misinterpreting a video he saw. He's using one video to pretty much determine that he was right about his thinking, even though his own thinking about the video is completely wrong.
They also burned porn. Yeah, they burned a lot of stuff. It was both, yeah. And no, a lot. And I wish people like this it's disappointing that you can't have genuine conversations because people try to just like kind of like handpick facts and like not talk about things in an honest way. But it's like part of that's true, but it's like not completely true.
LGBT people and
I got to push back there. I mean, he's really just saying that, you know, it's hard to have an honest conversation when people are misconstruing the facts, which is really ironic. He's saying that as he's misconstruing facts about German history and why they burned trans books. It was because they didn't like trans people.
even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me!
Okay, we're all done here.
Well done.
Fucking
Hey,
pathetic!
no, we're all done. Come on.
Of course, we need to.
Guys, these are the people that are on social media who are telling you how to act.
Telling you how to act by literally asking you to use the correct pronouns. There's nothing illegal about it. You can get banned from some websites for doing it, you know, and that's per their own right to do that. So he's conflating issues here. And, you know, if you want to have an honest conversation about bannable offenses and things like that, we can have that. But that's not where we're at, because where Asmongold's at is these people shouldn't really exist. They're mentally ill, and they shouldn't be validated. That's where he's at. And that's discrimination against these people.
Wife. Fearing that our
What do you
marriage.
do with people like this? I think that the best thing for you to do is to... So, I think in a lot of cases, compliance isn't compassion. And sometimes you have to hold people accountable to a higher standard of behavior and, decorum. And I think that when you do that and you create a culture that expects people to adhere to a higher degree of behavior, what you do is you create an expectation that is pervasive, and a lot of people that are like this stop acting like this because it's not socially acceptable. And I think that what happens with people like this is that people have enabled it for a long time. And
so basically, Asmongold's saying that you can fix the trans people by mentally making them, by challenging their ideas and not coddling them so much. But the reality is, it's just like gay people. You can't fix the gayness out of a gay person, right? You can't make someone trans identify as something that they don't feel like they are. You're the one forcing them to be something that they aren't. And that's what Asmongold doesn't see.
some of these people are not really that bad, right? Like, this woman doesn't seem like she's that bad. But some of the other people, like, especially the one screaming, like, oh my God, right? And so...
And I mean, these people have a reason to be screaming. Their existence is being denied, and Asmongold is just making it out to be like a cheap joke.
The problem is that when you allow these people to do what they want to do, oftentimes they end up making their own lives worse. And whenever you just agree with them and tell them that everything that they believe is true because you just don't want to deal with it, what you end up doing is
He's just assuming that people don't want to deal with these people, and that's why they're being validated. No, they're being validated because experts have looked into this phenomenon and realized that these people are actually what they say they are. They feel like women trapped in men's bodies, men trapped in women's bodies. So it's not fair to just deny that reality that that pretty much everyone in the science is known to be true, based on just false assumptions that aren't true at all. And he should know better. He shouldn't just accept the popularity as truth. What's popular as true. But he does. And he does because it's popular. There's no denying that.
End up enabling a degree of mental illness that's self-destructive. And I think
Wrong.
that's what happens with a lot of these people.
Wrong. The outcome is that when these people are treated equally and fairly, like everyone else, just like regular people who want to be treated fairly, just like everybody else, who want to be treated with the same respect everyone else gets. That's all they want. And Asmongold
people is that people give them what they consider to be compassion, but their idea of compassion is just simply what makes them feel good to do. So telling somebody you're right about everything that you think about yourself, that might feel very good to do because you're validating this person.
is just completely wrong. I mean, he's just talking out his ass, really. He has absolutely no idea. He's talking out his ass, and everyone's just nodding their head along like, yeah, you're right. When he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. I mean, he might as well just be absolutely lying. But it's just, he feels it in his bones, man. It's the truth.
But it might not always be the right thing to do for somebody in the long run. And so because we have a culture that's built so much off of optics, appearances, and virtue signaling, you have people like this that get radicalized by people's, by their misguided belief that people are compassionate towards them. And they're not compassionate for them. All they're doing is they're telling this person the thing that makes them feel good. And I think that another great example of this happening, another permutation of this happening, is with people that are overweight. And it's toxic empathy. It is. This is what I've been... Remember when I said I'm the most empathetic streamer? One day people realize that I was right. Is that whenever I look at this, I don't... Like, yeah, it's funny these people are acting ridiculous for sure. But underneath that, these are deeply troubled people that need help in a lot of cases.
I mean, they are, but the help, you aren't willing to give them the help that they need, which is acceptance and understanding. You're denying them with the talk of two genders and only two genders, and everything else is just a mental illness. It's hurting people. It's hurting these people. They're not very there's enough of them that it matters, definitely. But just because there isn't very many of them, it's not really popular of opinion. If there was more of them, then we'd have an easier time understanding them because we would see them a lot more often in our world. But as it stands, people who hold themselves up and don't interact with nearly anybody pretty much can't really understand this.
And I think that instead of trying to help them improve their lives, people enable them to further destroy their lives. And at a certain point, you're so far...
I mean, why would you think that? Why would you think that the psychologists aren't able to help these people in ways to improve themselves, like, or therapists, or the whole mental health system, you know, it's not perfect. There's a lot of problems with it, but it's a lot better than what we had going down a long time ago. And compared to then, it works wonders. So the fact that you can't see all the progress that's been made in our abilities to diagnose mental health issues and figure out what is wrong with people is just goes to show you're living under a rock. He's living under a rock. He doesn't understand how things work, how the system works, how complex it is, all the fail safes and safeties and things that are considered and all of the nuances. He just doesn't understand any of that, and he's just talking out his ass.
Gone, that you now can no longer reintegrate into society, and you've effectively destroyed your life. So that's really the way that I feel.
Yeah, and the way they feel is complete nonsense.
Let's go sanctuary city for trans people. Everybody deserves to feel safe, and everybody needs to feel
Well, if the kid wanted to. I think that in a lot of cases when kids want to do something, a parent sometimes needs to look at what the outcome of that thing is and then decide whether that's good for the kid in the long run. Because there's a reason why kids can't make decisions for themselves. And so what I think in a lot of cases is it's parents that groom their kids. And this isn't in like a sexual way, right, necessarily. It's just parents that groom their kids to be extremists in this way. And then, of course, the kids act this way because that's what they've been brought up to do. I mean, it's the same as, like, I mean, a lot of the kids in, like, I don't...
This guy, he's basically saying you can learn transgenderism, or it can be, like, groomed into you, right? Like, you can and then you start acting in a way that's unhinged, in a way that mentally ill, and so he's basically saying you can become trans by being influenced into it. And that's just incorrect. If you look at the data, there's no such patterns that suggest there's anything to do with anything but genetics. This is a genetical thing, just like who you end up liking, your sexual preferences, you mean like gay and straight, those are also genetic as well. So you can't really change this stuff. And, you know, they're born this way, and a lot of them hide it. So there's a lot more of them than we think there are. And that's why the numbers go up when it becomes more acceptable. So there's nothing that suggests that you can groom kids into being trans. Some parents just have multiple trans kids because, again, it's genetic. And so it's like some parents will have more trans kids, and you know, they pass on those specific genes that make them trans. So yeah, I just wanted people to understand that, because what he's saying is absolutely incorrect. It doesn't understand the basic sciences behind it. And again, everything I can say you can look up. I'm not lying about anything. Alright, well, I kind of skipped through some of the video there, but just some stuff that I didn't think was very important, so I kind of cut it out of the video. But as you can see, Asmongold is definitely discriminating against trans people. He's definitely leaning in towards right-wing content, and his audience is loving it, of course. And that's why he does it, because it's popular. And he thinks he's he's validated because it's a popular opinion, but just because an opinion is popular does not mean it's correct, and anyone will tell you that. Anyways, thank you for listening. This has been Clearing the Waters.